I think my favorite conspiracy theory is the fact that ever since Kate has been quote unquote absent, Banksy hasn't made a painting. So people are saying that Kate is Banksy.
Okay.
Okay, some of these are funny.
This podcast is hardly focused.
Ah, the French.
Just because the Kate Middleton's fresh in my mind, because I literally was just like, I literally typed in Kate Middleton scandal. Why should I care? And then a video popped up literally with those words in it.
Okay.
It was great.
Nice.
So basically, my understanding is that part of the reason that this is being highlighted is the fact that there's been a rash recently of like a lot of things where people have been using AI generated stuff to like trick people, and this like the fact that like this major news organization like released a story or a photo of something that wasn't like true, essentially, like is like oh, we should be worried. And like that's also for some reason conflated with the TikTok thing somehow. And like I was just listening to the news article or the news like telling the story, and like I really had a hard time just like paying attention. Also because I was eating meatloaf. But
That's important.
you know, in general,
That's the most important thing.
But like, listen, just I kind of get it because I can see people being a little up in arms at the fact that it's so easy to be tricked by AI. But I mean, it's kind of hard for me to understand it because I look at something and I look at it really close, and I usually am like, oh, that looks weird. Or I don't look at something deep enough, and then I hear that other people have done that work, and then it's like, oh, okay, so what's going on now? So then I'm looking at the aggregate of the discourse so I can make my decision rather than getting stuck in the, you know, just kind of watching what someone is presenting to me. Because if you are intelligent and understand that every single news source is trying to point you in a different direction and make you feel a different way, no matter how it's being spun, because ultimately the goal is to get you to still stay there as a watcher and a viewer, it makes it easier for you to kind of parse information. So it doesn't make sense to me as a person, but like on like a functional social level, I can see why people care, but it's also kind of weird to me. I guess the whole thing too is like she hasn't been in the like public spotlight for a couple months because she's been sick or had like some sort of surgery or something.
We don't know.
Like, I don't know.
That's the thing.
I don't really know. Like
We're
nobody's
just completely
really
in the dark.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing, is that they haven't really said anything, and it's just kind of like she vanished and she disappeared.
Yeah. Well,
And then like to prove that she's okay, they're like, we'll show you these photos, and they're manipulated
Yeah.
poorly. And it's like, well,
it's-
that's not a very good way to prove that she's okay.
No, it's not. It's kind of really funny, but like it's also sad, but also like I've kind of also had a couple of years now to deal with the fact that we're like two front flips into idiocracy right now.
So to set the stage here, if you didn't hear, if you're not following the story, so Kate Middleton had abdominal surgery, I believe, and disappeared from the public eye for several weeks. I think the surgery now happened like 2 months ago or something. But
yeah, something like that.
First, a photo appears of her in sitting in the passenger seat in a car, and I believe her mother is driving, and that comes out, and there's like immediately conspiracy theories coming out because like the windshield, I don't think it's tinted. I think it's just like the angle from which the photo was taken. But people are like, that's not her. That's not Kate. And they're going super sleuth trying to identify and prove why it's not Kate Middleton. So that's the first part. And then this family photo, and then Prince William's nowhere to be found in it. But this family photo of her and the three kids, George, Charlotte, and Louis, all together. And it's like at first glance, like I see the photo, I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. There's Kate Middleton. There's her three kids being kids. Cool. And then the Associated Press, who disseminated the photo, and they got it from, the Royal Palace, Associated Press issues a rare kill request, I think is called, which means, look, whoever we gave the photo to, you got to stop running it because it does not meet our standards. And I guess their standards are any photo that is significantly doctored doesn't pass their qualification or quality assurance, whatever. So it shouldn't get posted, and it slipped through the cracks, I guess. Gets posted, everyone's running with it, and then now it's a huge deal because now the photo is like, you're looking at the photo and there people are pointing out like, okay, well, this doesn't look right, this is off center, this kid's missing fingers, this, that, and the other thing. And the only two things that stood out to me was Kate's right hand looked blurry, and then Charlotte is like oddly, like if anything's gonna be like super like photoshopped or really edited, it's Princess Charlotte. She just looks like she was cropped out of another photo and pasted in, because there's like no shadow behind her. There's no detail there. And okay. So according to I believe it's from TMZ, but they got this from the Daily Mail, a full list of spotted errors. Spotted dick. Because people have way too much time on their hands, and it's like anytime people do this, it's like Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia trying to prove the existence of Pepe Sylvia. And according to this is the full list. I don't think it's the full list. There has to be another half dozen abnormalities pointed out, but here's what we got, and it's already a big list. Charlotte is missing a part of her left sleeve. Kate's zipper is screwy. Charlotte's hair is cut off. Charlotte's skirt is cut out. Charlotte's knees are blurred. Lewis's sweater sleeve is contorted. Lewis's right thumb is blurry. I can see that. There's an indent / distortion on the ledge that they're sitting near because the photo was taken outside. The step behind Lewis is distorted. Lewis's finger looks cut off. I mentioned that earlier. George's blue sweater looks enhanced. Kate's hand is out of focus. Called that out as well. And then George's sweater sleeve has unusual lines.
Her knees are weak and her arms are heavy. And there's vomit on her sweater already.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Mom spaghetti everywhere.
These are things that you do when things aren't okay.
Yeah, you're the graphic designer, Nate. You have some experience with this. Now, if you look at this photo, does it immediately jump out at you that it's been heavily doctored, or does it look normal to you?
It's one of those things where like if you just look at it with a glance, you're like, okay, that's fine. But if like you just spend more than 10 seconds on it, you're like, something's really weird. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, for me, it's hard for me to tell because like I've done with images for a while, but like to me, like as soon as I saw the image, I was like, something is off. Like I didn't see anything wrong. I hadn't seen anything wrong yet, but I was just like, this is just promotes a feeling that I don't like.
Wait. So what was the list again? Because like I'm looking at it now, and like I'm really just trying to give it a fresh look. And you're right, Nate. Something about it is like off-putting, but I don't know.
Like it doesn't come to you right away until like you actually like study it. It's one of those like weird like, what's wrong with this picture kind of thing.
It's almost like it's a page out of an I Spy book.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Or like, do you notice the mistake? Like those kind of things.
Yeah. Okay. Kate's zipper is screwy, and if you're looking at the photo, I believe the zipper is going to be at the bottom, like resting on her thigh.
Yeah.
But you can also see. Okay, so I can see that based on where this TMZ image circled. Okay, so it's actually at the top, and it's not like if you try to line it up with the rest of the zipper. It's not aligned. It's like the top part is going in one direction, and then below her kid's clasped hands, then the zipper is now going down in a different direction. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it makes sense.
It does, but it does.
but it doesn't make sense at the same
it does,
time.
but it doesn't. Only because, like, you could also argue that the shape here is like the way that fabric moves. Like, it would kind of like it could move in that direction if it was creased and pressed down in a certain way.
Mhm.
So that's why it's hard for me to say that one. I don't know. Something about it looks weird, but now I don't know if it looks weird because of confirmation bias, because we've already said that it's weird and it's already said it's altered, but they also said it was altered. But there's other things that look strange, like about just the perspective on everything.
Yeah. I guess another way of looking at it is it looks like everyone was photographed separately and then they were like cropped and pasted together, because there's no natural shadow on anybody here. There's no, like, you don't see any shadow on Kate
That is weird.
of either
There's
kid
no
in front of her.
shadow.
Charlotte especially looks like she was quite literally just cut and paste.
And it literally looks like the light is coming in at them dead on. So it would make sense for you to see something.
Yeah.
Like, there's a little bit of shadow, like on that, like the little ledge thing, like where his hand is, but that you can tell is because of something else. There's something else that's like, I don't know. This is weird.
Right. Yeah. Other people pointing out weird things that, like, one of the kids, I think it's the younger one there on the left, has like an extra row of teeth, but that was trying to go into the conspiracy theory that AI played a role in doctoring this image, and that has since been disproven. And TMZ actually had, I guess they interviewed two different CEOs of AI companies, and both of them like, yeah, AI didn't do this, which is actually kind of unbelievable if you think about it, because I mean, AI is doing everything now.
So there's another thing that's part of this whole story is, like, instead of releasing like the unedited photo, they like released like a statement that was just like so many amateur photographers, I like to edit my photos or whatever, experiment with them. And then they just sign it C, which is Catherine,
Right.
which is Kate, which is alluding that it is her. So they're doubling down on like, see, Kate is fine because she's giving this hex apology
Well,
and signing. But like, they're also just like kind of throwing her under, like, if it's not her, then it's like, it's really messed up. Like, there's something really wrong. And it's a really bizarre story. And I get why people are so fascinated, but at the same time, it's also like you're stuck in this weird loop of like, well, it's really interesting and it's really fascinating, but also we should probably fuck off, like,
Right.
in the care department. Like, just let her be. Like, if there's something wrong, just let them. But like, I mean, you're in the public eye. There's always going to be mixed feelings about when you're involved with like the public eye. That's kind of part of the
Especially when you consider the history of everything that happened with Princess Diana. So like, it's kind of that energy is still kind of there, where people just like want to know.
Well,
it's intrigue.
Well, it's not even that. It's you've got the other dude there with Meghan Markle. You know, they're not part of the royal family anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So they are people are focusing on them because they're effectively now living as commoners, and we have to care about that, obviously.
Well, there's a fascination of like that whole aspect. Like, I think my favorite conspiracy theory is the fact that ever since Kate has been quote unquote absent, Banksy hasn't made a painting. So people are saying that Kate is Banksy.
Okay.
Okay, some of these are funny.
So I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, we're gonna get so much stuff on this because it's weird, and like, there's also so many different emotions involved with it. It's like, it's a weird thing. Like, when we find out that something bad happens, like, I wouldn't think they would do this if she like had an affair, but like that seems to be like the topic, right? That's
Yeah.
like what people seem to allude to.
So let's get into that, but very quickly, I just do want to correct myself because I know there's got to be someone screaming right now because I didn't name him Prince Harry. I called him the other guy,
Oh yeah,
Prince Harry.
that's fine.
Yeah, there's apparently this is the big rumor right now is that there's an affair happening right now. Prince William might be having an affair. And of all people to be talking about it, here is the host of The Late Show on CBS, Stephen Colbert, riffing about that in his monologue from Tuesday, the 12th of March. Here we go.
As we were talking about on this show yesterday, the kingdom has been all aflutter by the seeming disappearance of Kate Middleton. Well, now, internet sleuths are guessing that Kate's absence may be related to her husband and the future King of England, William, having an affair. I think we all know who the alleged other woman is. Say it with me, the Marchioness of Cholmondeley. What a beautiful name that I'm being told right now that I pronounced incorrectly. It is, in fact, pronounced Chumley. Counterpoint, no, it's not. Learn English, England. Now, there have been rumors of an affair between William and the marching band of chicanery since 2019. According to tabloids back then, when Kate supposedly confronted him about it, he laughed it off, saying there was nothing to it. Aha, always a good response when your wife accuses you of cheating. Ha ha, imagine me having an affair. It is to laugh. It reminds me of a jape. Knock, knock, who's there? Oh, it's my illegitimate son. I've knocked up my mistress. The Marcus Mumford of Chubbawamba is an old friend of the royals, and she's married to a close friend of William's, David Rocksavage. Really? Rocksavage? That sounds less like a British noble and more like a musician from the Flintstones.
Yeah, so one of the many conspiracies going around right now. Although that one, I'm not usually one to, buy into anything like this. But if I had to give credence to anything, I'd give it to that because the royal family. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that's happened. I mean, that was happening.
So, like, why though? Like, what's the why? Like, why would they edit the photos? Because she left and she's gone.
Because we haven't seen her in so long, and then she's recovering from surgery. I'm going to, despite the confirmation that's been given, I'm going to say I choose to believe yes, she had surgery, but. They didn't say they just said abdominal surgery. I don't think they've specified exactly what that entailed. Like if she had a hysterectomy or something, but one thing pointed out that, and again, why she's, we haven't seen her, but one thing pointed out is she's, holding her hands up and holding her hands around her arms up and hands around the kids and everything. And that'd be very painful to do, several weeks out. Post-op, she'd still be having trouble. There'd have to be some degree of physical therapy in order for her to be raising her arms and not have it, be the most painful thing in the world. But
yeah, that's true.
But then she also disappears from the limelight, so people think, okay, well, we haven't seen her in X amount of weeks, X amount of days, what have you. Perhaps there's something more salacious going on, and now she's hiding because she's ashamed or because the family is fractured, and we don't want to see either of them.
It's hard for me to know because I don't really know any history of the royal family, but I do think I know that they're weird about what they're weird about their image.
Yes.
To the point where it's just like if she had a bruise, that would be enough to cause this whole thing. She had a bruise on her cheek and we wanted her to remain perfect. So we edited photos. Right. I mean, it could be anything because it's this family. It could be anything from she's not okay to she has a little scratch on her eye or under her eye or, whatever. It could be anything. And I think that's what makes this so intriguing because it's this really could be anything because that's what the royal family does. They make anything into everything.
I was told that if you take a walk in the garden, I now I could be totally wrong here, but if you take a walk in the garden, then you're not supposed to photograph that. That's like, you know, a private place to go. You remember like when Sean Spicer was the press secretary and he would hide in the bushes because he didn't want the press to get photographed.
Those were good times.
Yeah.
I miss that guy.
Spicy.
Anytime it was so funny too, because he loved cinnamon Trident gum. And every time I like have like one of those containers of Trident gum, I just want to like house the entire thing in one sitting. Cause that's what he would do. He would just like chew 2 full things of those before he'd have to go out and do the press briefing, and he'd swallow it too.
Yeah.
But I guess like the royal family, if you like walk in like the garden or whatever, that's supposed to be like a private thing. And I guess Prince Harry did that with the king recently. Well, the king got diagnosed with cancer. Harry basically ostracized from the family and flew from California to England just to meet with his father. And I guess like the meeting was like less than an hour. And it took place, quote unquote, in the garden. And, the press knows about it, but they're not. That's where they hide from the paparazzi, whatever the royal version of the paparazzi is. But it still made the news. Still a big deal. We have to care about that.
The royal version of the paparazzi is everyone.
Yeah. And then there was another thing too, where there's a more recent photo, I guess, of what's his face, William, because obviously I'm going to remember their names. They've only been around for 40 years. And Kate in a vehicle, and Kate's like looking out the window, but she's turned away from the camera. And people are like comparing it to a photo of her from 3 years ago, I think, or even longer, where she's like looking in the same direction. And they're saying it's whoever took this photo photoshopped her from the older photo and put it in the car to make it look like they're together. But they're obviously not, because he's having an affair and they're split up and it's just him inside the car.
Yeah, okay, that checks. Because like that would be, yeah. Because like it was a dark car anyway. So
right.
it's like you can't see the face anyway, but you might be able to tell the shapes, because we learned shapes at a very early age.
Some of us later. I mean, I think I was in my 20s when I learned the definition between a rhombus and a octagon. Anywho, so that's that. It's a weird story.
It is weird how it unfolds.
It's a bizarre story. I mean, you would think there's bigger things going on in the world right now that we have to be focused on, but right now in this moment, we're focused on this photo of most of the royal family, and apparently it's just a collection of images put together.
It's funny that you bring that up, because that's where my mind always goes whenever like something like this becomes like the focus. I'm like, okay, so what bad shit is happening that they're hiding? It's like,
yeah.
What is this distracting us from? Because I kind of want to know about that. But like that's the world, and that's how I view it these days. Like whenever I see a story like this, I'm like, okay, something really bad is happening, and they're focusing all the attention to this meaningless thing so that we don't know that the moon is dying or something. You know?
Sure. This is distracting us from this impending presidential election. I mean, which I think please give us all the distractions.
The movie Don't Look Up did a really great job of like illustrating that kind of concept.
Yeah.
It's a really funny movie, but it's funny because it's so goddamn terrifying.